How's it going, everyone? Kayne here, and welcome back to another episode of Kayne Talks Games. I've been stumped on what game to do next for this series because I did have one that I wanted to do, well, two. I wanted to do Blood Rain 1 and 2, but I haven't actually done a full playthrough for YouTube of those games yet, and for this series I want to do that. I don't want to just, record snippets of the game. I want to play through it so that I've got the footage and basically try and remember parts of the game that I have forgotten, because it's been so long since I've done a full run of those games, like those two games. So I thought, alright, for now I'm not going to worry about that, because now with my recording equipment I can do a full playthrough, so it's now on my list eventually to do one. But till then I thought, alright, let's not worry about that and let's just pick a game that would be a fun game to talk about, and that game is going to be Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'm going to do a double. Now, I was going to save this for Halloween, but I thought, you know what? Resident Evil is my favourite series of all time. I just did a playthrough of Resident Evil 2 recently, last Halloween, so my mind is still fresh on the game, and it never has been phasey for me. I always remember the inside and out of this game, even though I've only technically done a full run of each scenario once. Well, technically one twice, because I did play it years before, but it just wasn't a Resident Evil game that I really wanted to play. I loved the first game, loved the third game, but the second one was just always pushed to the side for me, until recently, where I finally sat down and went through the whole game and just fell in love with it all over again. Because this game, as much as I haven't played it in my time, I got so many memories about this game, so many good times with this game. So it's going to be a fun episode to finally talk about this game, and the remake's going to be a bonus as well. So let's get to it. Rightio, we're going to have to go all the way back to 1997. See, we were still fresh with Resident Evil 1. See, just our dad just loved playing that game, especially with me and Luke in the room trying to scare the shit out of us. And when he got sniff of Resident Evil 2, he was like, hey boys, guess what? Resident Evil 2! So it was I believe it was a PS1, I was going to say PS2, it was a PS1 magazine with, if I remember, it was a couple of pages talking about the game coming out, or if it was the actual demo, because it was a tradition, we always get a PlayStation magazine every week or every month, and then you get the demo disc. That game was on there, and Dad was just like, oh, look at this, boys, Resident Evil 2, didn't we have fun with Resident Evil 1? So yeah, we bought the magazine, he booted it up, and yeah, just holy shit, we just couldn't believe the difference between the first game to this game. It wasn't pulling any punches. You start off with so many zombies around you. Dad was like, here boys, have a go, you go first. And Luke's like, what do I do? Die. And then of course we're like, scary, bye, see ya, adios. So that was our first taste for the game, and we fell in love with the characters instantly, Leon and Claire Redfield. See, it took me and Luke a while to realise who Claire was, like, in relation to Chris Redfield, and then we finally realised when, this was probably 99, when we were getting, we were growing up a bit, we were 9 years old, we could play through the game a little bit, and then we realised who she was, and we're like, oh, okay. So, yeah, we had the demo for a while, and our dad would always play it, and then when he had his mates around, he'd make them play it, and they'd be shitting their pants, So with this game, sorry to sort of just travel off a bit, you have to remember that these games, I mean, this is mainly aiming at people that would look at this kind of game and go, that was scary? Really? Those graphics? This was groundbreaking at the time, and it scared the shit out of us. It really did. I mean, going back to Resident Evil 1, when that dog jumped through that window, you wouldn't believe how high me, Luke, and Dad jumped out of those chairs. It was just amazing how scary it was. And Resident Evil 2 just went above and beyond with that. I mean, when we saw that licker run past that window, I was like, nah. Fuck that shit. I am not putting up with that. And of course, Dad's like, hey boys, go on, have a go. Go through the door, see what happens. So, so many fun memories. Yeah, it's a series that, you know, me, Luke, and Dad grew up on, and our mum was always like, do not let them play it, because they're gonna have fucking nightmares. And yeah, it was pretty bad at one point. I remember Luke really fucking shitting his pants that, you know, Mum was very pissed off about it. It was, sorry to sort of jump ahead, it was when Birkin impregnated, or not impregnated, but he infected Sherry with the, you know, the G virus, and Luke was like, oh my god, my throat's still wound up. Oh, I think I got it. So yeah, Mum wasn't too thrilled about that, but that was just one of the great things with this game. It was just so terrifying, but it was so much fun. I mean, I still remember to this day all the moments that Dad would make us play because he knew what was coming up, and even, like I said, with his mates coming around, I mean, these are grown-ass men, you know, shooting themselves over this game. So yeah, what else was there that really proper scared me? The Marvin zombie, because I was watching Dad and he was doing it, and just that music when he turned into a zombie, and I was like, oh, once again, fuck that, I'm out. I almost forgot, you know, the moment for me and Luke where our faces just turned white like a ghost when, you know, you get to Kendo's gun store, you know, he's well armed, he's got a shotgun, you know, from the first game. We know he's going to take some zombies out, no problem, so we're like, safe haven. Just like the dog in Resident Evil 1, when that glass shattered and the zombies come through, we just jumped out of our chairs, me, Luke, and Dad, and then Kendo being attacked and the screams, I was like, oh.
But you should be safe inside here. I'm keeping a close eye on things.
That was reckless and stupid.
So that was 97-98. This is when me and Luke were not ready to play the game. You know, we were too scared. 1999, it was when, you know, we're 9 years old and we're starting to, you know, get a little brave now. We're ready to tackle this game. Unfortunately, I could only ever get up to the safe and then I'd beep, reset. I'm done. I'm feeling pretty good. But just one moment I remember terrifying the shit out of Luke, because he loved this game. This is his number one, you know, game of all, like for Resident Evil. Has run through it so many times. Actually, no, Dead Aim's a little bit higher for him, but 2 is, so 1's for me, 2's for him. And yeah, when went through Kendo's gun store and he went through the door rather than triggering the cutscene and there's the glass shattering, hearing those screams, that messed him up for a while. He never picked the game up for a while after that. But for me, this is where you're going to learn the origin of 2236 in my tags, like for social media. You know, why those numbers are so, you know, why I associate with those numbers. I would always run through the game, no matter what, you know, shooting all the zombies. Oh, I fancy doing the Easter, you know, egg with Brad, like the Brad zombie, getting the key, getting to the locker. But as soon as I got to that safe and punched in 2236 for the shotgun shells and the map, reset. Because that was as much as, that's how brave I was, you know, for that game. That's, what's the term, yeah? That's how far I could get without, you know, that's it, I'm scared now. I can't play anymore. I've had my fill. I'm brave. I made it that far. Don't you judge me.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
See, because of that game, it's like, even through school, you know, me and Luke, we was always, you know, when we're doing like, you know, when you're a kid, you like the teacher would, you know, to learn how to write and all that stuff, you'd create stories, you know, oh, your favourite characters in movies, oh, maybe you're a superhero. Me and Luke always did Resident Evil, we were hanging out with Jill, Chris, Claire, and Leon, and we were helping them take out zombies and all that stuff. And it got to a point where we actually created a game, in the playground. It was like tag, but it was more so tag, you're it, but you're infected. It's not a matter of you're it, now you're the it, you gotta try and tag someone else. This one, once you're touched, you're infected, so now there's two people who are it. And, it was really fun, but then what we added, because it was too easy to tag, you had to try and take the person down. So, one person, very hard. Two people, struggling. And then three, the more we bring onto you, you pull them down, 1, 2, 3, you're infected. It was a really fun game, but there was always, a couple of kids that would get too invested in being a zombie, because, one kid bit a kid in the ear, and I'm like, you're not supposed to bite, you idiot. And we got, it was like in trouble for that, and never really played it after that. It was really fun for a while, and then we just sort of moved on to other things. But that was a really fun game. Me and Luke, we invented, I know there's probably a game out there that's like that, but we were the reasons in that school that we got this game going, and it was only a small group of us, everyone else was doing their own thing. But that was fun, really fun. Alright, and that was basically it for Resident Evil 2 for those years. It wasn't until 2005 that we finally, like me and Luke, we were brave enough to go through Resident Evil, going through each game. I remember when Luke hired Resident Evil 1 from the video store, because it was just, I mentioned this in Resident Evil 1's Kayne Talks Games, and even Sonic the Hedgehog I mentioned at one point, that one day our Resident Evil spark kicked up again, where we just wanted to, go back and play the originals. But we didn't own the first game, we owned the second one. Luke hired it from the video store, and just watching him play it, and we got comfortable. We were not scared anymore. We weren't, little kids. We were, teenagers. We're very brave now. And I can't remember the actual year that Luke went through Resident Evil 2, because I never really played it. I didn't finish my first Resident Evil game until 2006, which was Resident Evil 1. Excuse me, there's my complimentary burp. We'd play the games, but we never finished them, because Code Veronica was a big game that we played in 2003. We didn't finish it, but we had a good chunk of that game. We hired it for the weekend. It was really good, and that was when we got the PS2. And we didn't really sort of finally start completing the games until 06, 07. And I remember Luke going through the game, watching him play Resident Evil 2, and we had no idea there were separate scenarios. We had no idea about Mr. X, and when because it was when we started joining some forums, because we finally got the internet, and joined a few, and we're talking about Resident Evil and all that stuff. And then that's when we finally thought, this is it, we've got to start playing these games, really get invested with them. And just watching him run through the whole of Resident Evil 2, it was such good times. And then I went through Resident Evil 3, and that's right, I was just trying to remember, there was another Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4 Luke got for Christmas in 05, and had a really fun time watching him play through that. But Resident Evil 2 for Luke he did in 06, and I did do, after I went through Resident Evil 1, I did Resident Evil 2, but I only got through Leon A, and halfway through Claire B, I got my ass kicked by Birkin when he has the pipe. And I just never got back to it, unfortunately. I just left it aside, and that's when I jumped into Resident Evil 3 and loved that game. When, that 2007 was basically Resident Evil 3 for me, just playing that whole game. Sorry, I shouldn't be talking about other games, but this is just how quickly me and Luke just started going through each game. And then eventually I moved on to 4 and all that stuff. And then 5, first game for PS3. That's going to be a Kayne Talks game at some point. And for me, Resident Evil 2 just wasn't really meh. But then, funny enough, Resident Evil 2 Remake come out, and after going through that game last year for Halloween, I finally sat down and went through Resident Evil 2. It was a fun couple of days for me, just going through the whole game. And yeah, it was when I finally got I converted to record PS1 rather than rely on the PS3, and it just felt so right playing through PS1. And God, that was just so much fun finally going through it. And it was just like a friend you hadn't seen in a long time. Booted it up, playing through it. It felt natural. It was really awesome. And it was like Resident Evil 2 Remake just booted me up to say, you gotta do the original at some point. You have to do it. And I finally did. And yeah, it was so much fun. So I had so much playing through it, I decided to challenge myself. I didn't put the auto aim on. I did the normal going through and getting the special key from the bread zombie, because I thought, nah, I gotta prove myself here. Really show that I am a dedicated fan of Resident Evil. Because we can argue that Resident Evil 2 is one of the best in the series. I had to make a statement in a way. And yeah, I was so happy when I ran through. And I think I only died once, if I can remember. Or maybe I did. I don't think I did, actually. I can't remember. I'm sure I did one death. I can't remember for the life of me. I think I was really struggling at one point. I just needed a herb and it just got, the better of me. I can't remember. But yeah, it just felt so good when I finally did beat it. And I was like, oh yeah. Another thing I did a challenge for myself, I decided to take on the alligator rather than use the fire extinguisher or the canister to blow its head off. I actually took it out with my guns to, like I said, to give myself a challenge. And I had never seen the cutscene where if you didn't kill it in scenario A, it would come in scenario B. And then I thought, well, what happens if I kill it again? I don't use the the canister to blow its head off. I'll just keep shooting. And I thought that it was invincible. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna die. But I killed it, and I thought, huh. So that's what that cutscene looks like. And just talking about, different, things happening in the game that I've never seen. I want to do another playthrough of Resident Evil 1, because when I was filming Kayne Talks Games for that episode, I was trying to get through the game as quick as I could to get footage for it. I ended up with different cutscenes that I had never seen before, so I really want to do another run of that, because it's always fun when you discover something you didn't see before, and it's like, huh, interesting.
Is this the guy?
Ben?
It's one that I really want to do 100% on, getting all the cool shit, because I've done that for the first game, did it for the third game, but I never did it for the second game. So once I might do it on my holiday coming up. Well, not coming up, it comes up in November, but I might do that actually, just have a couple of days where I just go through it as quick as I can, because that's my favourite part of Resident Evil, is going through the game and then just absolutely, picking it clean of stuff. Because, just going back, Resident Evil 1 did 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 I'm still working towards. I'm just doing the Madhouse difficulty, and I'm up to Lucas doing his section of the game, and eventually 8. Can't wait.
I have detailed information. Everything you need to know to prepare right here.
Okay, so that's the original. Now on to the remake. Had an absolute blast with this. This was such a nice welcome back to, the survival horror of Resident Evil. Resident Evil 7, look, this is my opinion. You can agree to disagree. If you didn't like it, fair enough. Resident Evil 7 saved the series for me, and then Resident Evil 2 Remake just sealed the deal that the series is going to be just fine, because I had such a blast going through this game. My only nitpick, unfortunately, is I understand it's a remake. I understand, they want to retell the story, but I wish it was basically a remastered version, with better graphics and all that stuff, because I didn't like the idea that no matter what scenario you did, it was already a set outcome. Leon is going to be the one that sees Mr. X at the end, no matter A or B. Claire's going to be the one that's, destined to take on Birkin at the end. It's just, that was my one nitpick with the game, but apart from that, absolutely had a blast with it. Just remember, when the trailer was announced and well, not announced, but the trailer was playing, and then just seeing the reaction of the crowd when Leon appeared, and it's like, it's finally happening. It is finally happening. We're finally getting a remake. And yeah, I didn't pre-order it at first, but then when the collector's edition was announced, I was like, I'm getting that collector's edition. And I think we stayed up all night, or just checking every day to make sure, is there a collector's edition? There's a collector's edition. Finally, managed to seal the deal and got it, and it was probably one of my favourite collector's editions of a game to date. It was just so awesome. I like the idea that it was the item box in the game. Got a set of the police keys, which was really cool, and of course the soundtrack and the really cool Leon statue was a nice item as well. But I wish there was a Claire one. I feel like Claire needs a bit more love. I mean, she's had a figure from Toy Biz many years ago, and then she's had a couple of statues, but yeah, she's always missing out. I wish she'd had more. And what else did I want to say? I tell you what, put some montage on while I'm thinking.
Come on, it's just getting good.
I did love the Mr. X moment of the game, because like I said, I never really went through the game, but I knew where Mr. X was in that game, so I was not expecting him to bloody show up in scenario A, a couple of hours in. When he lifted up the helicopter, I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be here yet. And that was the best part of the game. There was there was a safe area, but I went to the main hall because I thought, save typewriter. I thought, you can't get me. Bang, door open. I'm like, you're not coming here. No. It's like just so scary at the moment. I mean, he's not that scary now because I can just breeze through him, no problem. But it was like, holy shit, that is, they made that so terrifying. And then just hearing the in other rooms. So many moments in my playthrough, I'm just stuck in a room, waiting for the, and then I take a step. Coming back, and so that was the best part. They really nailed that part of the game. And what else was there? The zombie when lift up the head and the liquor, cut his head in half, and I thought, this game is grotesque. And then you didn't see many liquors in this game, but they were such a bitch to deal with. Trying to take him out with a grenade launcher. It takes you anyway. And I'm just trying to see a thing on the top of my head. Another little nitpick. I feel like I do like what they did with Kendo. You actually felt for the guy. His kid's been bad and she's infected, and he's a done man. He's gone. He's made his decision on what he's going to do next. But what made the original so iconic was, as I going back to the first game, the one moment people can remember is the dog breaking through the window. Resident Evil 2's most iconic moment was the zombies breaking through and eating him alive. Just hearing those screams just etched in your brain, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity for the game. And see, I know they had the cop or the sheriff in the storeroom, but it didn't really feel impactful for me. It's like, you've been eaten, you're bit, you're gonna turn. To me, if it had been Kendo, I would have been like, alright, this is it. But then what would have been good if he had tagged along, he survived. The zombies bashed through, boom, takes them all out. It sets us up, oh shit, they did change it, but then right at the end, go on without me, and you gotta leave him behind. I think that would have been better, but I'm no writer, so I can't, write for shit, but I think that would have been better. And what else did I really like? I just liked that it felt like survival horror again, got your typewriters and all that stuff, and I think that's basically it for Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'll tell you what, I'll put another montage, and if I can remember anything, I'll talk about it.
Why does everyone think I'm gonna get in trouble? What the?
I got something. It was a fun weekend trying to do the S Plus under 2 hours or 2.5 hours and 2 saves. I've forgotten his name again. He did a really good walkthrough on how to do the whole thing, and it was just a really enjoyable YouTuber to watch. You know, sometimes I'll go back and watch his run of the game to help people out, and yeah, I'll just be like, right, go through, and okay, you did that bit. Okay, right, keep going. Hang on a minute, so it's like relying on the video, but then a different outcome happens, and it's like shit. And the amount of times I did alright with Leon, got through no problem, but Claire I always struggled with, especially the part where you gotta, so you counter Mr. X, run through, walk, run through, walk, and I always struggled because he was always at a position where he would just go boom, and then that's it, redo the whole game, and like part of that game, and I was like, shit, because then if I remember where the save point was, you had to do the Birkin fight again with the knife, so that was frustrating. And the one moment where I just turned the game off and I thought, I'll come back, I am not happy about that. So running through it, and it's just when you did the pesticide shit on the plant 43 to get the last implant for the wrist. So all the ivies are coming down, attacking, running through. Because I did Leon first, I knew there wasn't going to be one in there. So I thought, Claire has a booby trap one as soon as you run through that door, and if you don't chuck a left quick, it's going to grab you and you're dead in one hit, and I didn't have a sub weapon. So I was so angry because I had to do the G section again, and then all the ivies, because they fucking terrified me, the ivies. And yeah, so that was a fun weekend. Finally did it and got all the cool shit to use, and yeah, that was really fun that weekend. Another thing I was bummed about, see, I know I'm talking about all the negative stuff, but I've already said that the game's great. I mean, it's one of the best remakes out there. There's just, I can't, even, explain how good of a time I had playing through the game, but the few nitpicks I did have, I've already mentioned, but the one I was really disappointed about, the DLC, the Ghost Survivors story, or whatever it was, I wish they'd just done them as short stories rather than a mercenaries mode. I mean, we already had the hunk, I forgot the name, the lone survivor, going through, and it would have been cool if they were, especially the mayor's daughter. How cool would it have been that section, trying to get away from irons, is sneaking. You got no weapons, you can't use any weapons. There's zombies in that walking around, but you got to try and get around them without being spotted. That would have been a great mission. And then you got Kendo. It would have been cool to have him go up against, on the top of my head, spiders. That was another little nitpick. Some of the enemies being cut from the game. I wish the spiders would have been a good enemy for him to try and take out. And then never saw any crows. I just feel like they really dropped the ball with the DLC. But yeah, it was. I went through it, but didn't go through all of it, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like they could have been a little bit better.
How are you holding up?
I'm hanging in there.
Hell of a night, huh?
Yeah.
So while I'm talking about Resident Evil 2, it's one of my biggest collections of figures. Got the Resident Evil 1 toy set and got the Resident Evil 2, from I think it's Toy Wiz or Toy Biz, I can't remember. They're really cool line. I got a figure here somewhere that I was planning on opening. Where is it? Because I think I got two, if I remember, of the Claire Redfield. So these toys were really cool. I absolutely, love them. And I got the game, like first game set and the second game set, and then the really cool 10th anniversary figures were, I think by NECA, if I remember. There's really sort of lifelike ones. If you can see, I've got a no, he's over there. I got because I had two Chris Redfield, so he's over there actually. Is he? I think I'm going insane. There he is. I couldn't see him because he's by the one. So yeah, got those ones, and I think there was a few pop vinyls as well, so that was really fun. So anything like all those were Resident Evil 1, 2 and 3 I'll be collecting, but yeah, really cool at that time, just going through and it's like, oh, there's some really cool figures I want. So yeah, probably my biggest collection of figures and all that stuff. And then you can't see, but I got my 2 and 3 Remake collector's editions here, and yeah, it's a really fun thing to collect for. Alright everyone, and as an end to this episode of Kayne Talks Games, I'm so glad I did Resident Evil 2 in the end, because yeah, I've been really slack with this series. I did the Christmas special, and then I just got really busy from then on. I know I'm recording all that stuff, but with this I want to sort of try and make it, you know, a proper recording rather than just, you know, oh yeah, I like this game. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I want to try and, you know, motivate myself to do the episode, and yeah, I was planning on, like I said, to do Blood Rain 2, but I just don't have, you know, enough footage for it. Whereas yeah, Resident Evil 2 and Remake, I do, and I love my Resident Evil. Perfect episode to sort of jump back in. And I didn't want to, you know, say anything. I have been struggling with my tonsils a little bit for the past couple of months. They've been really sort of swollen and dry, but all good now. They've gone down. Very happy. Still a little bit of a tingle. I think because I was just really dehydrated because it's been really hot lately. So I've been drinking a shit ton of water. So yeah, hopefully I can keep this going. You know, from, you know, maybe a month every, you know, now and again. You know, just to try and keep on top of, you know, the series, because I really love doing this. It was, you know, a really fun way to sort of really, you know, talk about my favourite games of my childhood, and just to, you know, share the memories. And yeah, very happy, really happy, and yeah, I won't hold this up any longer. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you later.